above freezing.
But rain is so much easier to shovel.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
Just put out your buckets.
Yeah.
Well, it is Nicole Fowles today again. We just have a couple weeks left until George joins us. He got a new knee for Christmas, and so he is recovering from that. Molly Myers-Labady is my co-host this morning.
Good morning.
Also joined by our teen librarian, Shannon Schilling.
Hello.
Hello, Shannon. And the program director of NAMI of Delaware and Morrow Counties, Miss Jenny Bishert.
Hello.
Hello, Jenny. And of course, Fred at the helm. Fred, it is your last day. We love you so very much. We gave you a mug this morning that is Bugs Bunny and the Abominable Snowman.
It's hilarious.
And I will love him.
I'll go and squeeze him and call him George.
And call him George. And so you never forget us and all of our wonderful memories. We love you so much.
Indeed. Thank you.
Will we still get to hear your voice at the beginning of our lead-in every week?
Sure, until the computer dies.
Or until Gage is like, he's out.
Right.
Oh, well, wonderful. Thank you for joining us this morning, fellow listeners. And we will get right into our readings for the past week or month or whenever you have recently read something. Molly, what have you been reading this week?
Ooh, I've got a good one. I brought in a children's book called Bob. And this one I kind of put off because my friends were like, man, this is so hard every time they started it. And I'm going to say to everyone, this is a really hard book to start. It's a children's fiction, but adults don't walk away from this because this book starts with a little green creature dressed in a chicken suit who has been left waiting for a girl to come back for him for 5 years.
Oh.
So the hard part is you got to get past the fact he's been in the closet where she told him to hide for 5 years.
Oh.
Now, he's in Australia where her grandmother lives. And she keeps feeling like there's something she forgot, but she can't remember what it was till she gets there and Bob pops out. And suddenly she remembers Bob and everything that has to go on with Bob. And she made a promise to him 5 years ago that she would help him find his home.
Oh.
And now it's time for her to help, but she can't figure out why she could not remember Bob. And as the story goes on, we start to find out there is actually a reason she forgot Bob, because he's pretty unforgettable. He is a lovely creature.
Does he always wear the chicken suit?
Well, she had him wear it when she was 5 years old. Now that she's 10, it doesn't make as much sense, but he is determined that it keeps him hidden from everyone. And so even though it's losing feathers and it's a homemade one by a 5-year-old.
Okay.
Anything else on as they go and start looking for Bob's home.
Aww.
And the story starts to unveil about their relationship, what happened. It's really a pretty short read, but if you can get past the really sad part of him being in a closet for 5 years, it takes you through Australia as well, which this was kind of a perfect book because I've been thinking a lot about Australia and the people and the animals and the suffering going on right now. And this sort of is a fun hope and about friendship and about how magic sometimes gets in the way of what we're trying to accomplish.
I feel like if you're a adult of my generation reading this, it made me think of Drop Dead Fred.
Yes.
Did anyone ever watch Drop Dead Fred?
Except for not quite as mean.
That was one of my favorite movies. But a forgotten, imaginary friend, a forgotten friend.
Well, and that's what she keeps thinking. Is this my imaginary friend?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not. That's not a spoiler either. He doesn't seem like one to you. He's got this full personality. And he's been living a life in the closet as best he could.
Bob.
That's Bob.
And who is it written by?
It is actually two of my favorite authors, which brought me in, which is Wendy Mass and Rebecca Steed.
Okay.
They went together to write this one. Wonderful book. Highly suggest it. All of my friends who read it gave it a great review, and my friends normally don't do that.
Oh.
So
friends are judgy.
They're librarians.
They're librarians.
They don't like to give good reviews. I, on the other hand, if you ever find me on Goodreads, love to give good reviews.
Well, thank you, Molly. Shannon, did you have anything you wanted to share with us?
Yes. So I brought my book with me here. It's called The Novice. It is a young adult book, fantasy. It's book 1 of the Summoner series by Taryn Matharu. Not sure how you pronounce it. Matharu is the author's name. I'm only about halfway through it, but it's pretty good. It's kind of similar to Harry Potter in that the main character is, he's like 14, 15, but he's an orphan. He's been one since he was a baby, doesn't really know who his parents were or like what his story is yet. But instead of like traditional magic like Harry Potter, it's a world where there are these creatures that they summon that are like Pokemon.
Oh.
Yeah. So he kind of...
You've got Molly.
Yeah. I heard that.
I have Pokemon.
So he kind of accidentally discovers that he has this ability to summon, and he gets this creature who's like a salamander, but it breathes fire. And that's like his little like buddy
Like
Pokemon.
Charizard.
Yeah. And
See, my head goes to Frozen
and then
too.
he goes on an adventure and finds his way to this academy where he's meeting other summoners who all have their own different little creature Pokemon. They don't say Pokemon, obviously, because
Right.
this is a fantasy. But the author has even said that the whole idea was actually inspired by Pokemon, so
Neat.
it's really interesting. Yeah, I'm only like halfway through, so I don't know the end yet.
This is part of the Summoner
The
series.
Summoner series,
And this
yes.
book is called Novice. Is this the only one that's out of that
no,
series?
so I think there's 3 or 4 published already.
Okay.
It's a few years old.
Cool. And it's fantasy. What age range would you recommend for?
Like young adult, early, like ages 12 to 14,
Okay.
maybe. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This Pokemon discussion could continue through the next radio show, as Darren
Yes.
is also a massively good Pokemon player. So just letting you know, you should probably bring this back up.
Well, and we learned, Jenny, that you are also an attendee at one of our book clubs, and you're reading one of their upcoming books.
Yes, I'm part of the Orange Road Library Evening Book Club, and I'm reading The Orphan's Tale by Pam Janoff.
Awesome.
Which is a really interesting book. I like doing the book clubs because they'll pull up books that maybe I necessarily won't pick up, and then I find new things that are interesting to me. So, so this one's set in World War II, and it's about 2 women who are hiding from the Nazis by being in the circus that's moving around. They're
Okay.
still allowing the circus to go on so that everything seems normal and happy. So they are evading the Nazis in that. And again, I'm only halfway through the book too, but it's written from the perspective of each one. So each chapter goes back and forth between the women and their interactions and feelings and thoughts as it's going on.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
You know, Netflix has an amazing documentary right now, which I bet we also have at the library, but haven't looked up, on circuses and the history of circuses. And that time period was really an interesting. There was a lot of competition between circuses, and American and European circuses were different. And now I'm nerding out again, aren't I? As I walk away from the mic.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. And so that one is called, what's the title again?
The Orphan's Tale.
The Orphan's Tale, and that will be being read actually at our Orange Branch Library book club that you said, the evening book club, for this month.
Yes.
Wonderful. So you guys all had these themes of orphans in your stories this morning, which is interesting. I am going to take it in a little bit of a different shift. I am reading a book. I'm still in the process of it. It's called Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. And you might recognize the name Stephen Chbosky because he wrote The Perks of Being a Wallflower. That book is rather old, actually. And this is only his second novel. So he basically wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower. He took some time off. He actually did some work in film. He wrote and directed the own adaptation of his story, Perks of Being a Wallflower, in 2012. Then he also directed Wonder, the one based on the book, starring Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson and Jacob Tremblay, and in 2017. And then he came back around and he wrote this book called Imaginary Friend. It's nothing like Perks of Being a Wallflower. It is a horror novel. It is an 800-page horror novel, and it is about a young boy. So I guess we have that in common. It's a young boy. But it's him and his mother, Christopher, and his mother, Kate Reese. And it starts out that Kate has a history of having not great relationships. She had a wonderful husband, but he went to the other side because of mental illness. And then Kate and Christopher are on their own. And then she's just kind of had, a thread of bad relationships after that. And so when it starts, they're on the run getting away from her most recent relationship. So they land in Mill Grove, Pennsylvania. And And they're just trying to get off the beaten track, off the path. They get into Millgrove. He, starts school. She gets a job. They're living in kind of a motel, but she makes life as good as she can. Every Friday night, they rent a movie and they get a pizza and they buy one lottery ticket and they play the lottery. And every Friday they don't win the lottery, but they still enjoy their pizza and movie night. And one day, Christopher decides that while he's waiting outside for his mother to pick him up from school, he sees a cloud in the sky, and the cloud almost looks like it has a smile. And so the cloud kind of starts to move. And so he decides that he's going to follow it. So he starts following this cloud with the smile. And then he kind of thinks about how it would be really neat if just that cloud started raining. And as he thinks about that, just that cloud starts raining. And then this cloud almost seems to laugh a little bit. And he's like, wow, this is a really neat cloud. So he keeps following it. And before he knows it, he has made his way off school grounds, around the corner, and he's in the woods. And then 6 days later, nobody's seen him. And you wonder what happened to Christopher. So we cut to a girl. She's driving along the road and she's going to miss her curfew, and she's speeding. And then she sees, oh my gosh, there's a boy in the middle of the road. It's Christopher. 6 days later, he seems totally unharmed, and she, calls the police, goes to the station. He gets back together with his family. All of the things that seemed to trouble his family from that point on seem to have resolved themselves. The mother and he play the lottery, and they win. The boy was seemingly having some signs of dyslexia. He always struggled in school. Now, all of a sudden, he's getting perfect A's on his tests. And when they ask him how he found his way out of the woods after 6th day, he said, well, I followed the nice man. Da, 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 da. There are no tracks in the forest. There's no other reasoning behind this. So then there are these odd things happening with Christopher, and the last thing that we hear from him before we really get into the meat of the story is that he is told by the nice man and another odd voice that seemingly associates with the cloud, which we don't know is benevolent or not. He's told that he needs to build a treehouse in that clearing in the woods before Christmas, and it's Thanksgiving, or else something will happen to his mother in the town. So that's where we are at. Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chabotsky. So totally off the course of what we had been talking about this morning, but a little scary. So we will take a short break, and then we will be back the second half of the program to talk about an upcoming program at the library called NAMI Ending the Silence. We'll be back.
Flu season is here, which means coughing, sore throat, aches, fever, and time off sick from work and school. But you can protect yourself.
Get vaccinated. The flu vaccine is safe and effective for preventing the flu.
Wash your hands with soap and hot water often. The flu spreads from close contact with others infected with the virus. If you're sick, stay home. Don't spread the flu to others.
I'm Dr. Amy Acton, Director of the Ohio Department of Health, and I'm here to remind you to get your flu vaccine this year.
Get vaccinated, Ohio.
Hello, I'm Archie Griffin, football's only two-time Heisman Trophy winner. Much like in athletics, Encova Insurance relies on teamwork, accountability, and dedication to execute a successful game plan. With smart digital solutions, superior financial strength, and more, Encova provides a full range of insurance products to encircle businesses and individuals with coverage at every step in life's journey. Contact your independent Encova insurance agent or visit Encova.com for more information.
For generations, alligators have weathered nature, biological threats, and predators. How do they do this? The answer is in their uncanny DNA. Alligators have one of the strongest immune systems in the animal kingdom. Their fat cells contain the essential oils needed to fight off deadly infection and rejuvenate skin. How can you benefit from the alligator's amazing rejuvenating powers? Cayman oil. Cayman oil is the revitalizing and healing power of the alligator in a bottle. Cayman oil is carefully purified and refined with an added hint of vitamin E and lavender to better harness the alligator's ability to heal worn and damaged skin. Treat dry skin, infections, cuts, burns, scarring, eczema, rashes, muscle and joint pain, and more. Even athlete's foot. It's clinically proven to kill the flesh-eating bacteria MRSA. This really works. We guarantee it or your money back. Go to mycayman.com. MyCaimon.com. That's mycayman.com.
depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADHD, schizophrenia. We are NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI Delaware and Morrow counties provides free support groups and classes for people with a mental condition and their loved ones. You are not alone. Call 740-815-1767 or go to notaloneohio.org. You are not alone. Sponsored by Delaware Morrow Mental Health Recovery Services Board.
Broadcasting from the Streetwise Motors Studios. In the market for a good quality pre-loved car? Get to 250 North Main Street in Marion or 24/7 online at streetwisemotors.com.
From the WDLR Weatherbug Forecast Center. For this morning, cloudy skies, rain, and a gusty wind today and tonight. Today's high 58, low tonight 52. Clouds and showers with a gusty wind on Saturday, high 66. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi on the new 92.9 FM, Ohio's best classic hits.
Scattered showers, 43 degrees. You are listening to Off the Shelf on 92.9 WDLR.
Welcome back, welcome back. Again, I am your host today, Nicole Fowles, joined by my lovely co-host, Molly Myers-Labady.
Hello again.
Our teen librarian, Shannon Schilling.
Hello.
And the program director of NAMI of Delaware Morrow Counties, Miss Jenny Bishert.
Good morning.
Hello, Jenny. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having us here today.
We are so excited. There is a program. So the primary reason that you're here is because there's a program coming up next Thursday, January 16th called NAMI Ending the Silence. But we thought we might start with telling people what NAMI is all about.
Yes.
Can you
and what it is.
Yeah. Can you help clear it up for people who might have no idea what I'm talking about?
Sure thing. So NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And it is a grassroots organization that started actually in 1979 in Madison, Wisconsin. A group of families around a kitchen table who had loved ones that were dealing with mental health conditions and were not getting satisfactory services or anything like that. So they started brainstorming, how can we help change things? And it has grown into a national movement. There are over 500 affiliates in the nation. We service Delaware County and Morrow County.
Okay.
So we do not have any counselors or anything like that. So we don't have services like that. We are all lived experience based.
Okay.
So we have services. We have support groups and educational classes for both those who deal with mental health symptoms and also for family members and loved ones to help support and support our loved ones.
Yeah, so that was actually going to be one of my questions. Are most of the people who work at NAMI, are they clinicians, or what are a lot of the jobs that you have around the office?
No, so for our office, we have our executive director and then my program director. We're the only two full-time people,
Okay.
And then we have 3 part-time people. So we have a young adult coordinator, Christina Wilson, and we have our educational coordinator, Sarah Hyatt, and then we have a peer connection recovery person, which is Jibe Dakota. So we have our affiliate's been around for about 13 years, but it's been all volunteer paced until the last 2 years.
Okay.
And they hired Todd as full-time as executive director, and then I just came on a year ago. So we're all pretty new, switching over from volunteer-based to staff.
Well, how nice.
Yes.
I'm sure you appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit, how do you get your funding? Is it through donations or is it a state-based funding?
Yes, so the Delaware Mental Health Board funds a lot of our funds, but then we also get funding from donors. We have Performance Automotive has been one of our donors. The Delaware Foundation has been one. Safe Flight Auto Group. So there's been various foundations. And then we do some fundraising, too. We actually are having our first NAMI walks this year, which is going to be awareness and advocacy and a fundraiser for us.
And so that sounds like that's a really big focus of NAMI is awareness and advocacy.
Yes.
So walks is one of the ways that you do that. Classes is one of the ways that you do that. Are there any other ways that you really use to raise awareness of mental health and mental illness?
Yeah, we're trying to get out into the community, into various health fairs. We've done some festivals and things, just to anywhere we can get out. And then also our Ending the Silence program is a good one, too.
Yeah.
We're getting into the schools with that because it's geared towards middle high school students.
So since you brought it up, talk a little bit about the Ending the Silence program. What is that? It's this Thursday, January 16th. Well, yeah, so next week, Thursday, January. Or is that next week? My calendar is totally off. I'm like, what day is it? I
still can't believe it's January.
I'm still messed up from Christmas. Thursday, January 16th at 6:30 at the main library. So what would happen at that program, and who is welcome to attend?
Okay, so this program's open to everyone, but it's geared towards middle school and high school students. We do have I guess several levels of it. This one's particularly towards middle and high school, but we also have a staff level and a parent level also. So, it's basically to teach them about the warning signs of mental health issues, what they should be aware of in themselves and in their friends. So that, and then to what they can do about that, like who they should tell, what resources are available in the community to help them. It's a 50-minute presentation. It's interactive.
That's good, because you're not going to be sitting there and just listening to someone talk for 50 minutes. I doubt a teen would.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
We have to gear that. And so there's just always two presenters. So there's a lead presenter that's giving a lot of the information, and then we always have a young adult presenter. And the young adult helps with the presentation, but then at the end they share their personal journey with mental health conditions.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And brave.
Yes, very brave.
I mean, how courageous for someone to stand in front of, assumably a group of their peers and tell their story.
Yes.
So Shannon, to bring you into the conversation as our teen librarian, what kind of, what brought this program to your attention, and what do you see in our teens who might attend it?
Yeah, well, it was just mental health is something that I'm personally, very passionate about. And then actually, Christina, who's the young adult coordinator, is that before NAMI actually reached out to me. So that's kind of where we, went from there. And I was like, yes, absolutely, very interested. And so we scheduled it. It was as simple as that, honestly. Like, I was already interested. She reached out, and here we are.
That's perfect.
And there's so many misunderstandings about mental health out there that we have this idea of what it looks like in our heads, and it's different for everyone, and it's,
Yes, it is. And the statistics are pretty staggering, really, because 1 in 5 youths will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime.
Personally, they'll personally experience it.
Right. And 50% of all lifetime mental illnesses really do begin at age 14.
Okay.
And 75% by 24. So they're in that age that symptoms happen. However, it can take up to 10 years to get a diagnosis because we're not educated as a community to look for the symptoms. Well, I know I personally wasn't.
Yeah, and sometimes as an individual, you have no idea what's happening. The only way that you can say is, I feel off.
Yes.
I feel off. And if you feel off, it could be that you ate something or it could be that you didn't get enough sleep, but it could be something else.
Right.
Or the idea I'm just sad and not realizing that that's gone beyond the normal sad.
Yeah.
Or
and
you're
not having like a
recovering.
concrete reason for it. Just being like, why is this feeling here? Yeah.
Yes.
Or something you're ashamed to talk about. And sometimes you just need to talk.
Right. And a lot of times not having the words like you were describing to say, to put it into reality.
And mental health, from my experience, I've been lucky enough to there's a mental health first aid course, and to realize how many different mental health diagnoses and issues can pop up, and different time periods they last, and different ways to respond to everything. If you're going through one of those, finding someone who can help you understand it better. And I'm guessing NAMI is going to be really good and resource our entire community can use.
Yes, we're hoping to be. That's our goal. That's our goal. I know for me personally, I had a daughter that was struggling, and going through, they have a family-to-family class, was just eye-opening for me to totally understand what's going on, because it's really hard to differentiate. Is this a teen thing? Is this is this just a personality thing? What is it? Because there's so much going on during that age group.
That's exactly the phrase. I was like, there is so much going on. I mean, not only are there hormones, but then if you add something like a mental illness into it, you don't know if that's hormones or if that's just your own science, your own body chemistry.
Well, and being a teen today, I think of myself pretty young, but it's been,
a little bit.
Over 20-some years
bit.
since I was a teen. A few gray hairs have been added. But, what they're going through, it's hard for me to even understand my nieces and nephews' world today.
Yeah, I mean, especially with social media, it's entirely different from how it was 5-10 years ago. So it's
Yeah, it adds layers of stuff to it.
Yeah.
So, Jenny, you said you will actually be at this program?
Yes, actually, I'm going to be the lead presenter.
Jenny will
with my
be our
young
lead
adult.
presenter. So this lovely voice that you hear this morning, or that you're watching on Facebook, you will have at the program. Shannon will also be at the program.
I will. Yes.
Wonderful. So Jenny, just kind of last thoughts. If somebody is listening to the program and they have someone they can't make it on Thursday, but they have someone who they want to help and they reach out to NAMI, what should they ask for? What should they do when they reach out? Should they call, go to a website?
So there's two things. You can call the office at 740-815-1767 and speak with me, and I can kind of talk you through to see, what it is you need. So it's very broad what people's needs are, but we do have resources on hand to refer people to, and then again our programs too, our educational classes and support groups. Or you can go to notaloneohio.org, and that'll get you to our website.
That's great. So it really sounds like you're just a great connection and referral service, and really to help get education and awareness out there.
Yeah, and support as people are going through this.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that you could join us today and tell us a little bit about the program upcoming on Thursday. Thank you, Shannon, as well.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So before we part this morning, we have a couple programs coming up that I wanted to mention. One of the things that's coming up at all of our branches this month is January. So many light subjects this morning. January is also Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Yes.
Say it lightheartedly, but it is a rather serious epidemic in our culture. But all of our branches this month are going to be drop-off points for women's hygiene products to give to survivors. So the United Way of Delaware County, Brandy Urban, they are working very diligently to make sure that they make touches with survivors, and they really help them get back on their feet. And so Delaware County District Library is partnering with them. We will collect women's hygiene products all this month. And we'll also have information cards about human trafficking, which we will be giving out to the public if you want to know more about that. So you can go ahead and stop by any of our branches and pick those up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Molly, do you know a little bit more about that, or Shannon?
I don't know too much more, other than we are going to be the drop-off points. We also have resources if you're concerned. We can help find information if you have any concerns about human trafficking, or connect you to experts in the area. If you have any questions, this is definitely something that, only a couple of years ago, I have to say, I was foolishly blind to.
I was pretty ignorant about it.
And the idea would be here in Central Ohio, that's something you think of as somewhere else. And the fact that we all need to sort of be aware, have our eyes open, and if we see something strange, follow through and let someone know.
And so we'll perk it up a little bit right before we go to leave you on a happy note, and to leave you, Fred, on a happy note. Frozen 2 is very exciting. We have 2 Frozen programs coming up in the coming weeks. A Frozen Story Time is at Powell on January 14th at 6:30. And if you saw our Instagram story yesterday, we did a sneak peek of some of the fun things that are happening at that program. And I hear that a queen might be joining it for a little meet and greet and maybe some singing. And then at the Orange Branch Library on January 28th at 6:30 p.m., we have the Frozen Adventure Party. And that is going to be an evening full of adventure from the land of Arendelle. And they will tell stories, sing songs, enjoy games, crafts, and a surprise guest. And, of course, the puns with so much Frozen fun, you'll never have to let it go. I know. That's what I'm here for. Another fun project that Mr. George at Delaware is working on is the Winter Train Display. That will take place on January 18th, all day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can stop by anytime during that day and see a wonderful model train display. There will also be some seek and find challenges, some interactive play throughout the course of the day, but that is just a really beautiful thing that Mr. George takes a lot of time to set up, and he does a fabulous job at it. So always check out our website, www.delawarelibrary.org. You can see all the wonderful things we have coming up. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Shannon and Molly.
Yeah, anytime.
And Fred, it has been a wonderful 3-4 years with you. We love you. Thank you so much.
I'm just claiming it's vacation.
Yes.
Right.
You'll be back.
It's a vacation. Ridiculously long one.
And we will see you in the stacks.
You've been listening to Off the Shelf, brought to you by County District Library. Love the library? Join the friends. Join us next week to find out what's happening at
First time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting BAG11 to 88988. That's BAG11 to 88988.
Good morning, and welcome to Delaware City Digest on WDLR. For the next 30 minutes, we'll find out what's going on in and around Delaware. Here's your host, Lee Yoakum.
Happy Friday, Delaware. It's the Digest. Back for another hard-hitting 30 minutes. We got a lot of action-packed info and news today. Got a lot to get to. Darren, good to have you back, buddy.
Good to be back, man. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. All's good. Charles Dukes is in the house today.
Woo!
CD.
Good morning. Charles Dukes has entered the Four-Timers Club. One more appearance, and he gets the
gold jacket.
Invisible jacket, yeah.
The invisible jacket. But we got Charles on. Obviously, perfect timing. We're going to talk snow and ice removal.
Yes.
High of 68 tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. I think it's good timing. Every time we bring Charles in, it gets warmer and warmer. So we got him booked
weekly.
We got him booked for the next 6 weeks, folks. He's here all week. Tip your waitresses. No, so we got a lot of ground to cover. Darren, how's the week, buddy?
It's good, man. I can't complain. You know, baby Parker turned 300 days this week. 300 days old.
Wow.
It's a lot of days.
It is. When you stack them all together.
Yeah, and it's taken about 900 days off of my lifespan. So
just wait,
30 to 1 ratio.
Just wait till she gets to be 16 and then 18.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
All right.
Your life expectancy is going to go.
Yes, I feel that already. I mean, I wasn't expected to live very long anyway, and this is just further dropping it.
Misspent youth or what?
I don't know.
Reckless lifestyle? What?
A lot of video games sitting on a couch probably isn't good for your capillaries or whatever, but I wish I could say I was doing cool stuff like skydiving or
But you're getting
football.
exercise now by playing Pokemon Go.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
It's
So
all
maybe
about
all
balance,
balancing
man.
out.
Yin and yang,
I'm
baby.
gonna live
You
forever!
balance.
Fred, how's your week been, buddy?
Chaotic.
How's the day?
I don't know.
Are we allowed to address this?
Sure.
Because last week you put us on embargo.
Oh, no. Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Is this where I start the Green Day music?
I was going to go with Boys to Men. Fred, we're gonna miss you, man.
I know, but I'm leaving you in very capable hands. Young Gage is going to be taking my place.
The future is bright, but the past is bright as well.
Yeah.
So we should have done that. But
That's
anyway,
all right.
yeah, Fred, we're going to miss you, buddy.
Thank you. I
We
appreciate it. I will
dedicate
miss
this
you
show
too.
to Fred. We promise.
We're going to try this show in honor of you, Fred.
5.5 years in, we're going to give it our best today.
Yeah, we're going to.
Oh, today. Saving it today.
Today is going to be a good show for you, Fred. Because this is the Marconi show for you,
All
Fred,
right.
on your way out.
Good thing I'm taping it.
Nah, all right. He always says that, and it's like, oh no, didn't you get the email? Yeah, I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, yeah, well, the computer was broken.
Receiver was down.
The reels are empty in there. There's nothing being recorded on them.
I'm the only one
But
that
anyway-
gets that reference in here,
Anyway,
but you're
Fred,
okay.
we're going to do. We promise to be on our best behavior today. And,
All right.
and we're going to give it a solid B+. I think today.
That's good.
So
That's all I can ask.
maybe A-.
That's all I can
but
ask.
We're
I
working on
appreciate
it.
it.
Looking forward to working with Gage in the coming weeks, and we'll have some fun stuff planned there. So anyway.
All right.
No pressure, Gage, but if we don't win a Marconi for this episode, we have to win one under you. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
no pressure.
So, CD, we're going to talk with Charles Dukes about snow and ice removal and kind of all the winter activities that his hardworking crew does. So we're going to cover that. But before we do,
we interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
Get a little headline news.
The news wouldn't be the news without the news.
But let me tell you, I got some news for you.
Americans heard the news and went wild.
Are you a Delaware resident who wants to learn more about the city? Or if you don't want to learn anything but just want to hang out with local media celebrity Lee Yoakum, here's your chance. Lee's 11th annual Citizens Academy starts in February.
Sweet.
Lee, you want to give a little pitch? I believe Dukesy is part of it, isn't he?
Dukes is. They all. That's the session that they line up for in advance. We usually pre-sale tickets if Charles Dukes is presenting, because no one talks brine and beet juice and salt and ice and street maintenance like Charles Dukes. I'm telling you. No, Charles and his team are part of the Citizens Academy, along with other classes about city functions and departments. And it's a great way to learn about the city, learn how it works, how it doesn't work sometimes, and make the city better. So, Citizens
It's free.
Academy. It's free, yeah.
And you can sign up on our Facebook page. Is that where you sign up?
You can find the application on our Facebook page, DelawareOhio.net, and or email local media celebrity Lee Yoakum at lyoakum@DelawareOhio.net.
And this is a great pipeline to take complete power over the entire county, probably, right? Like once you do this, you're part of the Illuminati.
Well, each graduate receives a secret pen that allows all the traffic lights
and the decoder green,
decoder
ring rather,
to turn green as you approach them. So there are benefits.
Yes. So speaking of Parker turning 300 days old, I guess I'm gonna have to start paying attention to this at some point. Now that I have a baby girl, January 11th tomorrow is the daddy-daughter dance.
Yeah,
6 to 8,
and a couple of 3 of those.
I did not. Before I moved to Delaware, I didn't know what this thing was, but it's held at the OWU Student Center. This dance will feature an ice cream bar at 6 o'clock.
Oh, those are awesome.
Followed by games and dancing. It's not too late to register online. There's a link under the event on our Facebook page. And sorry, Lee, the recommended ages are 4 through 17. So I think your daughter is too old. You can't go.
Correct.
No ice cream for you. Last week, we went over one of the jobs featured on our jobs.delawareohio.net page. This week, I have a new one. Do you love technology?
Sure.
Does the idea of helping Lee Yoakum figure out the difference between a USB and an HDMI cable make you leap with joy? If so, our help desk support technician job is for you.
Woo! Will I be able to learn how to put a photo on Facebook? Do you think?
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
Shout out to Dale Oates. Do you have any more road closures, Lee? Because I have some history, but usually you have some.
So that was it on the job opening?
Dude, it's an IT help desk support technician job. It's on our careers or jobs.delawareohio.net page. What?
Use your microphone. Use your words.
You can talk.
Charles.
You're allowed, Charles. You're
we're
here.
also hiring for a SMR division in the street department.
What's SMR, man?
That's a street maintenance repair.
So what kind of person would be interested or good at that job?
Hard worker. We like to have a CDL possibly, but not really a deal breaker.
CDL
CDL's commercial driver's license.
All right.
If you don't have one, though, you can get one.
Right. If you don't have it, we give you 6 months to try to obtain that. Also, background in construction, concrete, asphalt, snow and ice plowing. So
down your neighborhood, Darren.
It's on our website also.
Do you have to do like physical labor and stuff?
Yes.
Right. I just turned left. So that's on our website too?
Yes.
See? Aren't you glad you came on today?
Oh, yes.
Do you have anything else, Lee?
I have nothing else, Darren.
Want some history? I don't know. This one could go either way. So
All right.
We'll see. This day in history, 49 BCE. Lee, do you remember what happened? Julius Caesar crosses the Rubicon.
Huh.
The Rubicon was a stream separating Rome from Gaul. Caesar was the governor of Gaul, and it was against the law to cross into Roman territory with an army. When he did it, he said, Alea iacta est, the die is cast. Gazette reporter and noted political commentator Lee Yoakum immediately identified the implications of this action, writing, by crossing the stream, Caesar has started a civil war that will end the Roman Republic, become a play Darren has to read in high school, and create a tasty salad dressing. If you've watched Ghostbusters, you know to never cross the streams.
Wow.
Yeah, that
There's a lot going on in that
took
one.
work.
There was a lot
give you credit
of
for
research
that one.
for that.
That was a lot of research.
Did you see the controversy in Cincinnati over the statue of Romulus and Remus in the she-wolf?
I mean, I kind of know what they were doing. Is that what the controversy was?
I think so.
Like indecency or something?
I believe so. But anyway,
dear.
it's there is some controversy about it. So anyway, yeah.
Never a dull moment.
Darren Cholman, there it is.
I wanted to give Fred a good one on
it. And that was it. Okay, that was it. Oh, that
I can't
was the
pack
good one.
any more facts into there, man.
Charles ran out of paper and a crayon.
Charles Dukes is on the show this morning. This is the digest. We're talking snow and ice removal. It is January, believe it or not. High in the 60s tomorrow, Charles. So is that a good thing or a bad thing for you and your team?
I tell you what, it's a good thing. We started prepping for wintertime operations back in October, getting our fleet ready for wintertime operation. We look at different models of what they're forecasting out there for this upcoming winter, and it was all across the board. So, but the city of Delaware is prepared to fight any snow events that would come across.
When you say models, are you like talking about like internet sites or something? Like
no,
the
weather,
almanac?
different weather modules that there's so many out there. We kind of defined ours down to like 3.
So what are your top 3?
AccuWeather Premium, Weather Underground, and then OGO. And OGO is a ODOT website that has pavement sensors. It gives you cameras, so we are able to go out and look at that data on our computers, or we can go out and do a visual inspection of what's going on.
So those are your big 3 as far as looking out and
you don't
trying
use
to
the
predict.
little donkey with the straw tail and you see if it's wet or not. Have you seen that weather
That'd be a
predictor?
negative.
You know, they have a little barometric pressure gauge out there, man. And if it turns turns a certain color,
I remember the thermometer with a little cardinal on it. You know, you don't use that. We totally broke the show. Sorry.
No.
So you
or the woolly worms? Don't you have a bunch of those? And depending on how fast they get across William Street or something. No. Anyway, but Charles is here. We're going to talk about all of snow and ice removal. We know it's going to come. It's not a question of if. And how prepared are they? They're pretty prepared, and we're going to talk all about that after these messages.
Hi, it's Pam Spencer, and I want to invite you to listen to Mid-Ohio Hockey Talk Saturdays at 11 a.m. Along with my friends Mark Bingaman, Darren Schulman, and Carl Bennett, we talk hockey for beginners and hockey for avid fans. Rules guru Darren us on an NHL rule to help us better understand the game. We cover high school, college, and NHL, and of course our Columbus Blue Jackets. Mid-Ohio Hockey Talk Saturdays at 11, repeat Sunday at 11 on 92.9 and 1550 WDLR.
The Delaware County Veterans Service has an unwavering commitment to you, and they see over 10,000 vets each year. They can help you with emergency financial assistance, VA application assistance, and VA healthcare enrollment. To find out more, stop by the Delaware County Veterans Service Office. For your convenience, there's a computer area you are welcome to use when you visit. Call the Delaware County Veterans Services today. 740-833-2010. That's 740-833-2010.
There are a lot of places you can buy a car. You need someone you can trust. Hi, this is Janetta from Streetwise Motors. We have been in business since 1992, helped over 20,000 people find the vehicle they need, and there's a reason. We provide quality vehicles, easy, flexible financing for all budgets, great service, and provide an enjoyable buying experience. Check us out at streetwisemotors.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real natural hair back permanently. They're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts *55 to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text *55 to 85850. That's STAR55 to 85850.
From the WDLR Weatherbug Forecast Center. For this morning, cloudy skies, rain, and a gusty wind today and tonight. Today's high 58, low tonight 52. Clouds and showers with a gusty wind on Saturday, high 66. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi on the new 92.9 FM, Ohio's best classic hits.
Light rain, 46 degrees. You are listening to Delaware City Digest on 92.9 WDLR.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah.
Use your
Him
words.
too.
You are a professional.
Good thing we're live.
This is the Digest. I'm Lee. That's Darren, Gage, Fred. Our guest is Charles Dukes. Charles is a supervisor in our Public Works Department, and he is a supervisor for streets and street maintenance. And we're talking snow and ice. What better topic to discuss when the temperature is going to approach 65 degrees in January? But we know in Ohio that the weather is not a question of if, it's when we'll get those snow events. And in fact, we've already had some events this year that have required the snow and ice team, we maybe don't recall those, but we've already had 8 events this year.
Yes.
Now, how do you quantify an event, Charles?
An event is any precip that's going to cause any hazards out there on the roadway.
It's precip, cool words for
precipitation.
precipitation.
Man, I love it when he
yes,
talks
precipitation.
technical. Ooh.
Yes.
The cool kid's called precip.
So currently, what we do, if there's an event being forecasted, we'll go out and we'll put salt brine down. And that salt brine is the white lines that you see out on the road. And then depending on what that temperature is going to drop down to, we might go to a 70-30, which is percentages of salt brine and agriculture beet heat.
Oh.
Okay, or beet juice, okay? So we'll go back to the salt brine. The salt brine will go down the road. Those are the white lines that you see. It allows us to be able, on a normal event of a flurry or 1 inch, staff possibly would not have to be called out because you have that salt brine or that solution.
It's already working. It's doing the work ahead of time, gives you guys a head start.
Yes.
And at some point, you may not, like you said, you may not even have to have a call out because the brine's doing its work. So we've already had 8 events. In a normal season, what's I know normal seasons are kind of relative in Ohio, but what do we have last year?
Last year we had 25 events.
Wow.
And those range from anywhere from a 1 inch to an ice event to accumulation.
If there's a big snow hit like on one night and it just kind of stays on the ground for a long time, like 3 days, is it still one event? Or if it keeps snowing, it's still one?
It's one event, and then you'll just category from there.
Gotcha.
Piggyback off.
Here's your Darren question. How many little cans of beets would you say you go through in a day?
Yeah.
Well, we get ours in bulk, so we get a tanker truck. So you got 4,600
So
gallons.
if I see you at Kroger wiping out the shelf of beets, I know there's something coming.
Look at these muscles, man. This is from he opens up every little can.
Poor Lee is in the break room eating the beets so to get the juice out. Like, Lee, eat more beets. We need the juice.
No, we have been very successful. We have negotiated a deal with the Schrute Beet Farm in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Well, you just got an office reference.
And they supply all of our beets for us. So, Charles, what's the normal weather season in Ohio? Again, it's all relative, but like last year, how many inches of snow, or what do we usually get around here?
On the average, we're about 27 inches on the average in Ohio. Last year, I think we were nowhere near that as a cumulative total. But it varies in Ohio. So a lot of times our guys, it's kind of frustrating. They'll put that model out there that you got 6 inches of snow coming. But it's for some strange reason, when it comes to Delaware, it kind of opens up and goes around.
Yeah, we got the bubble of invincibility.
So the guys kind of, I'm thinking as the weather turns to the fall, they kind of have an internal kind of barometer that says, okay, we're getting ready for weather, they're getting ready for snow, and then it doesn't happen. Right. Do you kind of get the sense of that, or they're kind of ready to go?
Well, what we try to do, Fred, he's my frontline supervisor. We come together as a team, and we look at this thing, and then we get our buy-in of our guys. So we explain to them, so we got that communication, so it's not one-sided. We work with our guys to kind of say, hey, here's the model that's out there. That way everybody's understanding the concept. So a lot of times you want to prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And a lot of times our guys are on board.
So kind of what's the guys' pet peeves when they're out working a snow or ice event, Charles? What are some of the big issues?
Big issues, drifting. One of the big ones is motorists on the roads, depending on what the levels are. And then when you get into the residential streets of cars being parked strategically out there so we're not blocking their driveways, that's kind of cumbersome for a big 10-foot plow trying to move around in a residential area.
Lee is looking at you so skeptically.
So residents, they'll park their cars
in front of their aprons.
So you can't plow.
Right, so you can't plow them in. So that's kind of cumbersome for a driver.
But the snow is still going around the car, so they still get a windrow.
Right, and then that causes a hazard or safety issue out there with that windrow there.
Isn't it best just to put your cars in the driveway?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That way you can work the whole street. Right. Everybody in the neighborhood's going to be happy. And if you can't park in a driveway, find a side street or an alley or I don't know, something.
Yes.
Work something out with the neighbors. Cars off the street, that's a huge help.
Yes, that's big for us.
What about I know it might not be a pet peeve for the driver because it doesn't probably affect them so much. What about mailboxes? Every year we hear about, the plow hit my mailbox.
Right. And if you look up on our website, we have our snow and ice policy that's on the website, and we have that identified in there. It shows you the proper installation of a mailbox. And with all this rain we're having, if you don't do anything to your mailbox, eventually that mailbox will sag, potentially towards the road. And when a 10-foot plow coming, trying to clear the roadway, that plow or weight of snow will hit that mailbox.
So you got to make sure your mailbox is straight up and where far back it's supposed to be.
Yes.
So it doesn't get hit by the snow, the plow, because they're trying to get up to the side.
Right. Their blade is running right along the curb, and if your mailbox is over that, it's going to get hit because the plow is high enough to hit it. So go out and check it.
Right. And then also on that, if we're able to get that snow back a curb to the face of curb, it's going to help the mailbox service, the garbage guys out there, your sump pump. Okay, your sump pump drain that's discharging out into the curb area. Okay, because if you leave that wall of snow, you get that freeze ice pack there, then it can't discharge out properly, which causes the homeowner a different issue.
Homeowners complain that by plowing the windrow along, but there's really no way around that.
Correct.
We maybe go out after they've come through and just create a little channel there.
Right. But if that plow goes against that curb, in theory, it will clear that face of that curb. So it's not leaving that dam of snow there.
Exactly, right. Other thing that I think you guys are all, I've ridden with your drivers, which do a great job. It's the amount of the pride that they take in their work. Is motorists, they're operating a multi-ton piece of equipment with a 10-foot blade in hazardous conditions, and traffic is all around them. What's the best? What can motorists do to just make sure everybody stays safe?
Well, stay that clear distance, behind that truck, watch and pay attention to the blinkers, but just give us that space to be, and try not to pass us, when we're doing that snow. Give us a chance to do that opportunity to make a clear passage for you.
So stay back a little bit.
Yes.
And give them room to do their job. Everybody's going slow that day, so just kind of a little bit of patience is always helpful. Another thing we all see in our neighborhoods is, people clearing the driveway and they don't want to go carry it over to the side. They just toss it out into the street. Right. Really don't like them doing that. That's not a good thing to do because that can create hazards for motorists.
Right. And then also what happens, depending on temperatures, that freezes. Okay, so now you got a motorist traveling. It's a speed bump now, so it's a hazard. So in our policy also, it tells you how to properly throw that snow. It says it in the policy, which is on our website.
Or you can just drive over your driveway and hope it just takes care of itself when it gets warm.
Yeah, which I'm thinking that someone in the studio does quite a bit. Charles, I know that listening to you, there's a lot of science and technology that really goes into snow and ice removal, including how your rigs are calibrated as far as how much salt they're putting down. It costs money, so you're very careful about salt application and its effectiveness, and you want to make sure you're getting the most out of your buck, I guess.
Yes, and to kind of go a little more in depth on that, it depends on the snow event. But we have our frontline trucks that are calibrated and automated that you can set. Fred and I will say, okay, depending on what this event is dictating, we might say, hey, guys, go out and put 150 pounds per lane mile down on this type of treatment. Now, when you get into ice events, you might go from 150 to 500 pounds per lane mile because of that ice, okay? So there's different variables, but we try to control the amount of salt that we're putting down on the roads.
It is a dumb question, but I have to ask because this is like not just salt like the little Morton girl salt with the umbrella. I mean, this is like a different kind of salt, right?
Yes.
Where do you get it?
It comes out of mines. Our salt comes out of up around the Lake Erie area and sometimes out of New York.
And I heard a while ago there was like a shortage of salt. Are we good now?
Yeah, currently we haven't heard any updated. The prices have went up. Currently, the city of Delaware, we work through ODOT, Cooperative Purchasing. We're paying about $82 per ton. Salt.
$82 for a ton of salt, and how many we go through? About how many tons in a season?
Yeah. About 3,000 tons.
About 3,000 tons. And you can see it from William Street, but we do have a fairly new, 5 years, 6 years less, a salt barn at our facility, and is that 3,000 tons in there? How much is that?
Well, no, with these 8 events, we track every event, so we try to stay and do our due diligence on these events and understand where we're at. So if we need to order more material, we can kind of monitor and build these types of reports. The capacity of that salt dome is about 3,000 tons.
I'm always I'm kind of struck by the policy that within 48 hours of a snow event, give or take, we'll have touched every street in the city of Delaware is the goal of your team.
Yes. And also, it's a kind of unspoken goal, but amongst us drivers that are out there, and Fred is the other supervisor, we go out and try to clear all the roads, and we're hoping that school's not
Exactly.
canceled. And I know a lot of kids,
you're the least popular person in Delaware right now.
Right. A lot of kids don't want to hear that, but we had to take a step back. It was the sidewalks that weren't clear for the kids that walked, and then plus teachers that were coming from other communities into our community.
Right. I know that's always a bit of pleasure if there's not many snow days in the city.
You mentioned 48 hours, but you also have kind of a check down list of the order you go in. So when someone says, "Oh, my street hasn't been done yet," there's a reason for that, right?
Yes.
What order do you go in?
We do priority 1s, priority 2s, and priority 3s.
What's a priority 1?
A priority 1 are your main high arterial roads with the most traffic on them.
What would be an example of that? Like
okay,
23?
Your 23, your 36, your 42.
And then what's priority 2?
Priority 2 would be your secondary streets. Your main arteries like a
William Street,
Lexington Glen, Executive.
Okay,
those type of streets.
And then what's 3?
And then a 3 is your residential.
Your side
Those
streets.
would be your side streets.
So there's a reason why the plans are all out there, but my street hasn't been done yet. It's because you're working down that list to make sure the most important streets are done first.
Right.
It really is. You go by traffic volume and the speed of traffic.
Yes,
it kind of impacts where we're going to tackle first.
Yes.
So,
and then one more point I'd like to touch on is snow and ice. A lot of times what we try to do strategically, if it snowed on Friday, okay, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would be that next trash day. So strategically, it would be that Monday per this event here, and then we would go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Or you try to get the routes that are coming up.
So you don't start in your neighborhood next?
No,
Charles,
no.
I thought all the
No.
snowplows.
No, that would be a negative.
but no, we do have there's a system, whoever has the next trash day, so
Yes.
the trash trucks can get in and out safely and do their jobs. That's where we'll start snow removal once we get into those residential neighborhoods.
I'm picturing Charles in his office with like a beautiful mind calculations with all these like roads and trying to figure it out, and they're lighting up, and then that's like complicated, man. How do you do that?
Right. It's just years of experience, and there's a thing called APWA, American Public Works Association. They have a snow and ice event that everybody that deals with snow and ice, you go to this event, this training seminar. So everybody's kind of mimicking the same concept.
So you dig this stuff, though?
Oh, yes.
Because I can just tell, you're like into snow and ice removal.
Well, partner, thank you for coming on,
Okay.
and
Thanks for
we'll
having
let you.
me.
We'll let you go. I know you're going to be out there yet this year sometime, or in 2020 for sure. So thanks, and be safe when you're out there, Darren.
I just want to thank Fred again, both for being awesome and for keeping us from getting any FCC violations. He saved me at least 3 times.
I'm going to do something here. I think I can get over there while we're on the show.
Oh, he's going to go. Hashtag Lee too hugging. Oh, Lee is a hugger. He is a hugger.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My
You
pleasure.
want to take us out? Whatever.
We'll see you next week on Delaware City Digest.
You've been listening to Delaware City Digest on WDLR. Tune in next week to find out what's going on in your city.